everyone, my name is Elle. Welcome. Today I wanted to do a look using the Master Palette by Mario, which is my 2018 Pan That Palette choice in case you didn't already know. I wanted to do a palette resurrection and maybe see what you guys thought of this idea as a whole. This is a series that one of my favorite YouTubers started a few months back. She's actually only been on YouTube for a few months, but she's amazing. Her channel name is Smacy. I will have her channel linked down below. She's done a few of these palette resurrections so far, using palettes like the Too Faced Peanut Butter and Jelly, the Urban Decay Electric palette. She's also done one with the Modern Renaissance palette. So not just palettes that have been discontinued or things that are limited edition, but just things that you don't see people talking about or doing tutorials with that often, which I think is great. There are a few times I've come across series and videos and stuff like this where people use those old sort of forgotten products or things that people forget about when something new comes along, which happens so often. And the Mario palette is one of those things that you always see people talking about, how much they wanted to have it, but you don't see people using it anymore. And I think it's a real shame in general that you don't see people use their old products, or when they do, they're really ashamed about it. Like, gee guys, I'm so sorry I'm using this, because you can't buy it anymore. But the thing is, a lot of people have these palettes, and I just think it's good to keep talking about them and showing different ways to use them and just have fun with them in general and not feel afraid of using your limited edition products, which is why I'm panning this palette this year. So anyway, I highly recommend Smacy's channel. She's just such a good person, and I love her vibe, her aesthetic. Like, it's my dream. She is everything I wish I was. I just can't say enough good things about her, so I hope you will check out her channel. Let her know that Elle sent you, and yeah, just show her some love because she really deserves it. So anyway, the look I want to do is inspired by this photo right here. And I actually found this on Mario's blog, Mario Behind the Master Palette. I was doing some searching for inspiration and I came across this look, which really inspired me. I've been struggling to find inspiration, and this looks really simple, but I started to notice all the little layers and little artistic things behind it. What I find really cool about it is that its shimmers blended right up into the eyebrow. It looks to me to be about 3 different shades. There could be a ton more. It's hard to tell because the model's eyes are closed, but it looks like theirs might be a little bit of like a reddish brown underneath her eye area. And then she has a really glossy burgundy lip, and it looks like blush and bronzer and stuff is really high up on the face. Like, it definitely looks like a strategic placement, not like your standard like Instagram look. So I'm gonna go the full 9 yards, do the full recreation of this look, but as I'm going through it, I will let you guys know some like modifications you could make if you wanted to do a variation of that look. And I'm going to use just this palette. I think I can get away with just using 3 shades. I'm going to use Marina. I'm going to use Paris. So Marina is this bronzy peachy shade. I'm going to use Paris, which is a deeper bronze, and I'm going to use NYC, which is a reddish brown, and they're all shimmers, so I think that'll work really well with this particular look. Also, spoiler alert, in case you follow my Pan That Palette, there's pan on 1 more shadow so far. I'm doing pretty good, guys. So I'm going to take Marina, and I'm actually using an Anastasia brush. I'm not sure if this is the one that came with the Mario palette or not, but I'm going to use this one because it's just a flat packing brush. I already have my foundation, concealer, and all that stuff on because I thought that would save me a little bit of time. I do think I'm going to apply this shadow wet, but use the Paris, like the deeper bronzer shade, in my crease dry. So I need to get some Fix Plus. I'm almost out of Fix Plus. Really sad. I love using it with those metallic shadows because it makes them apply so much easier. Especially this formula and this palette, I find it to be very soft, but when I use Fix Plus, it's a lot easier to work with, and it gives the shadows a much needed, in my opinion, intensity. I find on their own they're really pretty, but they're very light, and I like a more impactful look when I can. So I am bringing the shadow up pretty far, right above my crease. Now, I don't have a whole lot of lid space either, so depending on the amount of lid space you have will depend on how far up you're going to want to bring it. Now, I'm dipping the other end of the brush, which is just a really fluffy crease brush, into that same Marina shadow. just to blend out the edges a little bit before I go in with a deeper shade, because I don't want it to set too harshly, or it'll be harder to blend the Paris Deeper Bronze shade into it. And it'll be easy to layer Paris on top and deepen it if I need to than it would have been if I had gone in with Paris first. It's just common sense. You can put a dark shadow on top of a light shadow, but if you try to put a light shadow on top of a dark shadow, you're not going to get the same effect because it'll be hard for the shadow to really shine. It'll be mixing with that deeper shadow. So I'm just gonna do this same thing. The thing I like about this look too is that it's really pretty, but it doesn't look like a lot of time was spent on it. Like, it does look like it was a quick makeup look, but there is a story there, and that's what's so exciting to me. I wish I could find more photos from that look because I want to see the full face, like straight on, and I want to see the effect of it. So I love this Marina shade. I've definitely come around to this palette now that I've been using it more. I've really been enjoying it. So you could definitely just get away with this, or even just keep the shadow on your lid if you wanted to just do a look like that, and then put like a bronze shade in your crease, not bring it up too high, which would make it look a little bit more wearable. You could also just put matte browns into your crease as well, which would make it a little bit more wearable. Just having a whole like shimmer up to your brows makes it for a more artistic look. Like, the whole thing is a look. It's not your everyday kind of makeup, like the general you. I think the kind of makeup you see the general people on YouTube and Instagram and various other social media places, they seem to like very neutral, natural things. And while these are very neutral, natural colors, it's not applied in the neutral, natural way. But for me, I like it. I like this a lot. I like doing the slightly weirder things, and things that are a little bit more artistic in nature just inspire me a little bit more. I've been a little bit bored of the standard Instagram stuff, which people seem to like because they like it on pretty people. Not to sound rude or anything, but like certain looks just flatter certain people more. If you're naturally really pretty, you can get away with like the least amount of makeup possible and you're gonna look amazing because it's your face, not because it's your makeup. And I just like when people take more chances with makeup, and it just, when people use makeup to express themselves and art, like that's what really excites me. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with anything else. Don't get it twisted. There's beauty in the pretty as well, of course. I just like the weirder side sometimes. So I'm just using a clean blending brush to blend around and soften the edges. That's also why I wanted to do the foundation first, so that I could just blend this shadow into my skin, into the foundation, because that's what it really looks like in the picture. Like, you can tell that it's there, but it just blends into everything else. It's beautiful. I would totally wear this like on the daily. Who am I kidding? I might intensify the upper area in a bit, but I don't want to go too heavy at first because I want to add the lip gloss and blush and stuff and then see what I want to do. So I'm going to use the reddish brown shade on the lower lash line because that's what it appears to be to me. Like I said, it's hard to tell, but that's where I'm going with it because I like that it kind of matches the lip a little bit. I'm placing it down first with a more detailed crease brush, but then I'll blend it out. So again, this is definitely a look, but I really like pops of color on the lower lash line, and it's a really easy way to incorporate color if you're new to color and you want to try to use some of your colorful eyeshadows or eyeliners. Like, do a very neutral lid, either no shadows or just really neutral matte shades. If you do a shimmer, I suggest something close to your skin tone so that it's not competing with what you have underneath your eye, and then you can put any kind of color you want underneath, and it won't look like too much because you don't have anything else going on. If you kept everything else really minimal, if you had just like your base makeup on, you know, a little bit of what you like to use for blush and contour and that kind of stuff, nothing too heavy, and then stick with a neutral like nude lip, that's a really pretty look and a really easy way to incorporate color. So if you wanted to do like a reddish brown lower lash line, I would suggest keeping everything else really, really minimal. So I didn't think that NYC was red enough, so I added a tiny, tiny bit of Muse, which is a little bit more red. I can just see like the tiniest little speck of pan now on this, like the itty bitty, not even worth showing. I'm nuts. Kind of pan obsessed. I love how grungy this looks without intending it to be super grungy, but of course that's like the modern grunge thing. That's what you're gonna get when you put red underneath your eyes. I want to do the bronzy stuff, which looks like it's pretty high and blended in with the eyeshadow, which is why I dragged the shadow out so far. Obviously, if you were doing a more toned down look, it depends on what road you're taking, so I wouldn't recommend striking it out too high if you're going for more of a natural look. I'm using the Bobbi Brown Shimmer Brick, by the way, in bronze, because that's the thing. That was actually the thing I thought of first. Before I even really looked at the Mario palette and the shades that were in the Mario palette, I thought of the Shimmer Brick because it's a very shimmery bronzer, and that's what it really reminded me of on the model's face, because it looks like it's really, really bronzy right up here, which I just think is such a cool placement. So I'm just swirling my brush around into the full brick because I like that there's like a little bit of pink in here too, and I'm trying to keep it up pretty high. I don't want to drag it down too low. With a clean brush, I'm just softening it a little bit. I'm not going to be doing the contouring thing or anything. Another interesting bit of information about that photo is that it's from 2009, I think, if not before, because that's when the blog post is from, 2009. So I'm going to use this Too Faced highlighter in Blinded by the Light, because it does seem like there's a little bit of a lightness across her face there. So I thought that this might work as being something shimmery, but without being too blinding, because I normally would go for something like Becca's Pearl, but I thought that might be too much. We're getting there, we're getting there. I want to add a little bit more rosiness though, a little bit of blush. So I'm first going to try Milani's Romantic Rose blush, mostly because I know Smacy also likes this blush, so I don't think it's really the right tone, but I wanted to throw a little bit of this in there. Yeah, it's not as pink, but I did prepare a backup. There's a lot of Anastasia products here. Hope you guys don't mind. I have the blush kit in Radiant, and I thought that this shade right here, this is Breeze. I thought Breeze would work really well. Oh, that's pretty pigmented. I'm using a different brush than I would normally use, and yikes, okay. Stick with what you know, people. These blushes are super pigmented and I love them and I use them all the time, but I usually use a much looser blush brush when it's not so dense. So I'm going back in and layering a little bit more of the Shimmer Brick so that I get a little bit more of the bronze return instead of too much pink. I really went hard with this, really hard. I also like that it doesn't look like there's false eyelashes on the model, but it does look like there's mascara, so I'll have to do mascara. I also need to do brows. The brows are really fluffy, which I like because I hate the really sculptural thing because I can never get it right. And if you can't get the brows right with certain looks, it really throws the whole balance off. So this is just a really fluffy, not really precise kind of brow, which I like. A brow that I think kind of suits me better because of the way that my brows are. I screwed up my brows the other day when I was trying to groom them, and I ended up taking off a little bit more than I had intended to, which I suppose happens. It's not like when I was younger and there was no brow products. Did anybody else do that when they were younger? Really screw up their brows? I remember trying to trim my brows a little bit when I was like, I don't know, 12 or 13 or something, and I razored off like a big chunk. And I didn't know about makeup and stuff and products to fix it, so I had to go around with that missing chunk of my brow for a long time. I had bangs, long bangs, for quite some time. So I just filled in the brows lightly and used a little brow gel. They're a little bit darker than what I wanted, but in order to fill some of the gaps, I had to do it because it really, the picture looks like it's natural brows just totally brushed out, but if I just brushed out my brows, I don't think it would look quite the same. So the brow gel is keeping it a little bit in place, but also giving me a little bit of that wildness, which I think is part of it. Although the brows are very, very subtle in the picture. Like, you don't really see them at all. It's not the focus of the photo. Like, they really blend in with the eye look. So I feel pretty good about where it is right now, but I'm gonna put a little mascara on. And now for the lip color. I'm really excited for this. I am going to use the Anastasia lip palette. I told you there was a lot of Anastasia products. I am going to use a lip liner. This is Venom from Urban Decay, and I'm going to mix a couple of shades with a gloss. I have this clear Pat McGrath gloss, so I'm going to mix it all together. Instead of trying to do the lip first and then layering gloss on top, I am going to do it all at the same time. So I'm not going to try and match the color exactly, but I'm going to try. All right, so this is the color I'm going to go with right here. I mixed 3 shades together. I mixed this shade right here, this deep purple shade. I also mixed this shade right here and this shade right there, and a ton of the gloss. So because I don't trust myself to just apply that on its own, I'm going to use the lip liner. Look how messy. I got the product all over me. All right, so I'm back. The lipstick and the gloss worked so well together. So happy. It's so heavy. It's so heavy. It's not something that I would want to wear all the time, but the effect of it is amazing. I'm really happy. So I actually don't want to add anything to the look. I really like the way that it is right now. The lip is not a dead match, and it's actually a slight bit glossier. It's hard to tell because it's just a still image, but I think I got it pretty good. I think I got the essence of the look, and I feel really good about it. There's definitely aspects of this that I want to take moving forward. I actually like the whole eye look right up to the brow bone thing, just where my eyes are so small. I like that. I think paired with the reddish lower lash line might be a little too much for the daily, and then the strategic bronzer, blush, highlighter stuff. All together it's a little much, but if you were to take the pieces apart, I think you could come up with something that was really, really cool. The eyeshadow and the lip color work really well together, but if you want to tone it down, you could definitely just do a matte. You could do the lip liner and then a little bit of clear lip gloss on top, so it's not so extreme. This is definitely extreme, but that's what I was going for. I wanted to do extreme, so I had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun doing this. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Anyway, thank you so much for hanging out with me. Let me know if you liked this, if you'd like to see more looks like this, or if you want to see more wearable looks. Let me know if you want to see some more daily, everyday wearable stuff, or if you want to see more editorial style makeup looks. Let me know what you want to see. Maybe I can come up with some kind of balance there. Anyway, thank you once again. Don't forget to check out Smacy's channel, and I hope I get a chance to talk to you soon. Bye for now.